Welcome, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little look into r/BestOfRedditorUpdates. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. And of course, quick disclaimer, any opinions I give on the post we read today are just opinions, not facts, do not need to be taken as such. If you have a different opinion, please do feel free to leave it in the comments below. Just make sure you're keeping it respectful with anyone that you do not agree with. There is no need to be mean to each other. With that being said, let's get into it then, shall we? So this first one was posted by Green7000 and it's titled, I resent my employee for being richer and more qualified than me. So this one was originally posted on Ask a Manager, which I believe is an outside website outside of Reddit, but it quite often gets linked back to Reddit, so yeah. And it was originally posted January 24th, 2023. I am a first-time manager of a bakery in a small city that has gone through a lot of changes through the pandemic. Our housing and cost of living was so cheap that remote workers moved here, and now people originally from here can't buy a house, including me. 6 months ago, my bakery hired a new employee, Jane, who is around my age. She's a great worker, working the shifts no one wants, late nights closing and early morning openings. And because the bakery usually hires students, it's been great working with Jane because we're on the same life stage. Married, I have a kid, she doesn't, but I'm finding myself resenting her. Jane is overqualified to be a cashier at a bakery. I didn't hire her, the owner did, and I wouldn't have. But she has a master's degree and her old job was a director in a tech company. She's given me tips on how to manage people because this is my first time and I can't help but wonder if she's going to try to get my job. When I asked her, she said that she doesn't want to manage people right now. Well, yeah, after coming away from being the director at a tech company, maybe she's just had enough of dealing with them, overseeing everyone for now, and just wants a job where she can just get on with it and leave without worrying about all the ins and outs, you know? I've been gritting my teeth because she's good at her job, and she said to the owner that she's on a sabbatical from her own job for a year or two, and I do like her. Well, why would you be worried then? She's literally just said she's taking a break from her job for a year or two, clearly just, needs something to do in the interim. So clearly she's got no aspirations of taking over your job or the bakery or anything. But we went to her house over Christmas for a party, and it's a beautiful new build in an area in town that we could never afford. And her friends, also people who moved from the mainland to our small city, were talking about how much their bigger city salaries stretch here. They all seem to make more than double than me and my husband combined. And I found out that Jane is on a paid sabbatical from her old job, so she's getting paid twice for working at my bakery. Everything has gone up because of inflation, and we went from being able to afford a house in 2019 to now, when we're barely able to afford rent. There are a lot of people here who are struggling to make rent, and Jane is getting paid twice. I want to fire her, but I have no good reason, because she's good at her job, and having someone work the early mornings and the late nights is hard. How do I manage her now that I know that she's making more money than I do in a year, plus her bakery wage? It's not fair. I mean, I'm not being funny. I understand how it would be frustrating having outsiders moving into your area and driving up the house prices and what have you. But that isn't Jane's fault directly, so you can't take it out on Jane and be like, I want to find a way to fire her because she's getting this salary and another salary. Maybe Jane could be a way for you to step up into a higher salary job, Jane seems pretty chill. She just wants something to do in the interim, Jane seems pretty chill. She just gets on with what she's got to do. There's nothing been said here that makes me think Jane's a bad person. She's even tried to give advice and tips. So yeah, I can understand the frustration, but I think it's kind of leaning over into spitefulness if you're then going, I want to find a way to fire her. And obviously that's coming from jealousy, top and tail of it. But yeah, I understand the frustration about the prices going up and things like that, but that's not Jane's fault, is it? Realistically, it's the fault of the people that are making the prices in the big cities, because people in high paid jobs can't even afford to live there anymore. Like, that's crazy. So it says Alison's advice has been removed. However, you can still access the link to read it and other comments on the story. So I think Alison is the person who runs the Ask a Manager page. So yeah. But we don't need to read that because we're really here for what the OP decides to do next, aren't we? So, June 20th, 2023, and by the way, I always link these stories, so you can always just follow the link and find it through that way anyway. Thank you for the reality check that was needed. I want to be a good manager. I want to be able to make this bakery a good place to work and a successful business. The owner has been talking about retiring in the next few years, and I would like to be able to buy my bakery and succeed. And I can't let my insecurities hold me back. It also was a sign that I needed to think about my mental health and what I actually want for my life. I have very much been in survival mode since I was 15. Yeah, definitely. And I can see where, the OP might start comparing themselves as well to Jane, because Jane is obviously, in OP's eyes, more successful and what have you. But everyone lives their life differently. Everyone finds their own ways to be successful. Just because you're not doing exactly what Jane's doing does not mean you're not successful. It just means that you are not doing what Jane's doing. You're not on Jane's path, you're on your path. There are far more ways to be successful and live successfully to yourself that don't involve money, I think everyone's got very, hold up these days on the fact that if you don't have, so much money that you don't know what to do with it, then you're clearly not successful. But success can mean different things to different people. It doesn't have to mean that your pockets are well lined, OP then goes on to say, Jane no longer works at the bakery. Her company bought another big company and she was called back to lead her new department. She has also become a senior director now. Before she left, Jane and I talked about the future. She suggested that potentially there were bigger opportunities if I went back and finished high school. I had dropped out when I got pregnant, but also told me about some bookkeeping certifications I could get that would be recognised anywhere nationally that do not need a high school diploma. It's still $2,000, but that's something I had never thought about. Yeah, and everyone always needs a bookkeeper, You can always find someone, work when you do bookkeeping. I mean, hopefully, in the age of AI. Boo! Something that I hadn't put in the letter was that my husband is learning to program. And when Jane found out about that, she asked us to see what he had built. It impressed her a lot, and she had advised my husband to apply to jobs in her company and use her name. He got to the second round, but was eventually unable to be hired because neither of us completed high school, and they couldn't waive that requirement. That's so stupid. Honestly, that's so stupid. Here's a guy with obviously skills that Jane had found impressive enough, and that the company themselves had found impressive enough for him to get to the second round, but then he wasn't able to go any further because he didn't have high school diploma. Well, again, this is what pees me off about the way things are done, in our society, is that a lot of the time, it's you have to tick certain boxes that realistically not everyone needs to have. He has the proof that he has the skills required right there. Why does he need a high school diploma if he does know what to do and he knows the work? Do you know what I mean? Crazy to me. However, it has made my husband go back to night school, and Jane and her husband have been very helpful in finding resources for programming boot camps and networking opportunities for my husband. She even managed to get my kid into her company's free virtual private coding summer camp so my daughter can get a heads up in coding and see if she likes it. Things are better. Helped a lot because Jane went back to her real job and I had to deal with my insecurity. See, exactly, Jane was a good person to know. And, just because Jane was there now, it doesn't mean she wants to have the bakery to herself and what have you. Obviously, the OP was kind of threatened by the success of Jane and comparing themselves because they mentioned, obviously, not having their high school diploma and blah, blah, blah. And I feel that that was causing some inferiority issues within the OP. Self-inflicted, of course, because it sounds like Jane has never had any of those views onto the OP at all. But yeah, again, don't compare yourself to people because you will drive yourself mental doing that. It's crazy. So down in the comments of the Best of Redditor Updates post, Vin the Hater says, many people don't like to admit it, but a lot of getting ahead in the workforce is about who you know. Jane is someone you want to know. Exactly. And then the iPod account says, Jane already opens so many doors for OOP. I would expect many more to come if they got their headspace right. And then Salvage Sword said earning their GEDs and learning some basic networking skills would get them pretty far in life. The GED test is really easy too. I wanted to start college early, so I got my GED while all my friends my age were still stuck in high school. Well, there you go. So it does seem like things are on the up and up, and I hope that within the however many years it's been now since the OP posted, that things have gotten exponentially better. And hopefully they managed to get a job at Jane's workplace. When was this post again? January? Yeah, so it was 3 years ago now, over 3 years ago. So hopefully things are going well. I mean, coding's an interesting choice in this day and age. But not their fault, is it? Honestly, that pisses me off so much. We won't get stuck on that because I can rant. Okay, then next post. This one was posted by Direct Caterpillar 77. Am I the butthole for telling my husband that he ruined my birthday? Again. This one obviously was originally posted by u/Stitch and Trex. Direct Caterpillar is the person who compiled it together for us like a lovely wee bean. Originally posted March 12th, 2023. Background: today is my 28th birthday. I am really into birthdays and holidays and believing celebrating them to the max, and this is well known to everyone. I'm also the planner and the giver in not only my family, husband and kids, but my extended family, parents, siblings, friends, etc. So I'm the one that plans birthday get-togethers, gifts, travel, etc. I'm also a stay-at-home mum due to having a son with complex medical and behavioural needs. I've been with him 24/7 for the last week as it's school break and he's extremely clingy and has behavioural problems due to mental illness. I also had an upper respiratory cold during this time, sore throat, fever, cough, runny nose, earache, but kept up with the mum duties nonetheless. Bloody hell, OP, it sounds like you need a day in bed or two. My goodness. My husband's birthday was last month, and as usual I planned something for him. Weekend in town, a couple hours away for us and our kids. For my birthday, I tell him I just want help with the kids, the house cleaned, a nap, and him to cook supper or take me out. Maybe a homemade gift from the kids and a cake? Wow, you are not asking for enough. Not for what it sounds like you have to do each day. My goodness, shoot higher, aim higher, OP. Yesterday, my husband starts complaining of a sore throat. I check his throat and looks fine. No fever or other symptoms. He stays up all night playing video games. This morning, he said he is sick, but has no visible symptoms. No fever, no cough, no runny nose. Doesn't sound like someone with a cold. He says his throat hurts, but spent an hour on Xbox Live talking just fine. He naps all day because he says he's sick. I think it's because he stayed up until 4 AM playing video games. Yeah, probably. Meanwhile, I make my own cake, take care of the kids as usual, and do my usual chores. He didn't even tell me happy birthday. Finally, I decided to take the cake I made with the kids to my parents' house to have supper there so I didn't have to cook. I'm pretty crabby at this point and I don't say a word before we leave. He calls and asks why we left. I tell him because he ruined my birthday yet again and I'm trying to salvage it at least a little, and hung up. He called back and said I was overreacting. He's sick and I'm an adult. Birthdays aren't a big deal anymore after 21. Well, it depends who you talk to. Some people they're a big deal, some people they're not. But if you know it's a big deal for your partner and you still just don't even bother even to say happy birthday, not even a happy birthday and a bar of chocolate, for God's sake. You could put even a tiny bit of effort in, and the things that the OP was asking for is not even anything big. It was a nap, a little help with the kids, maybe the house cleaned, not difficult stuff. My goodness. So, am I the butthole for wanting one day to be the receiver instead of the giver, to celebrate myself? So of course, the verdict was not the butthole. So we have some relevant comments. Old gal Miss PT says, not the butthole. If he cared, he would have tried, sore throat or not. Exactly, because the OP's running around after his kids, keeping his house tidy while they're poorly. So, you know, being ill isn't an excuse, especially if you're then going on Xbox all day and napping all day, you know, and stayed up all night on Xbox. You two need to have a discussion one-on-one, littles need to be somewhere else, about your relationship. Adults need care and attention too, whether you are over 21 or not. Edited to add, happy birthday. And then the OOP says, I did forget to mention that when we went out of town for his birthday, I was also sick then too. I have an autoimmune disorder, so I get sick a lot, especially during allergy season, but didn't let it stop me from doing anything to celebrate his birthday and made sure we had a good weekend. Exactly, that's it. It's nothing about whether, you know, oh, you shouldn't celebrate birthdays after 21, which is so silly. I mean, if you want to, then you can. But it's showing your partner you appreciate them and making some effort, for goodness sake. So then a deleted user says, not the butthole, but stop doing things for people who don't reciprocate your value, with the exception of your children. No more birthday parties for these lazy people. Let them do their own events and start having him contribute to the house. Your stay-at-home mum duties is only till he comes home. After that, it's a shared effort. If he has time to play video games, then he has time to help around the house. If he complains, it's 'cause he has a job. If he complains it's 'cause he has a job, then you get a job. You deserve a break, and daycare is better for a child's development anyways. Yeah, but that doesn't quite work when you do have a child that's like has mental illness and has like physical illness. It doesn't actually help their development a lot of the time because it's can be a lot more stressful. It's very sort of dependent, and obviously the OP has said that the child has like significant needs. What was their wording? Complex medical and behavioural needs. So yeah, your everyday, day-to-day childcare probably wouldn't be for them. But I get the sentiment that you're saying, of course. So then the OOP says, I 100% would love to go back to work. I've only been a stay-at-home mum for 3 months and it's not by choice. My son cannot go to daycare or after-school care. Long story, but he did go for 6 years and it's not an option anymore. Yeah, you hear this a lot with children with complex medical and mental health needs. Like, they tend to get kicked out of like after school care and childcare because they say they can't cope with their needs. It's pretty sad, but it's a very, very common theme of not being able to accommodate those needs. Like my kid who's on the spectrum has basically been told that they're not allowed to go to the summer school. They were like, oh, we don't have the time to be watching for kids with additional needs, which I thought was pretty bad and discriminatory. And don't you worry, I did make a complaint about it because nothing had been said before then, and I made them aware of the additional needs. But it is unfortunately a very common thing when it comes to kids with additional needs. So then Soda Butt Wolf says, can you get a part-time job when you only work when your kids are in school? OOP then says, I'm going to try next school year. I live in BFE, so the only option would be to work at the school, in the office, or as a para, and they only hire a month before school starts to start at the beginning of the school year. I should be able to get the job because of my education and experience, if one is open. I'm also training to be a special education parent advocate, so once I'm done with training, I can do that part-time during school hours and work from home. That's the other problem when you got a kid with special educational needs. It's very difficult to like manage work around them because a lot of these like extracurricular or summer clubs or half-term clubs will not cater to special educational needs or just additional needs at all. It then leaves a lot of parents in the shit because no one will have them. And if you live somewhere like the UK where they literally have like a week or two off every 6 weeks, it's like, can you imagine trying to juggle that? And then the 6 weeks holidays as well that you get in the summer. It's crazy. It's like, how the friggin' hell do you juggle that? Like, your only option then is to go self-employed or remote work, and there's not a lot of remote work around. And, you know, self-employment still is not great because it still needs to be something you can do from home. So, top comment, 3Dog Knit says, not the butthole. You did your job in communicating what you wanted. The fact that he did not show any concern for you shows a lot. Caregivers need care too. He did not ask for advice, but I want to suggest the following. Don't bother with his birthday. Make plans on your birthday with others who are willing to celebrate you. You do not have to share your plans with him. He's irrelevant. Birthdays are nothing to him, so your plans don't need to involve him in any way. Finally, a belated happy birthday. Parenting is a thankless job, but it sounds like you're rocking it. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be doing anything for his birthday from now on, and if he mentioned anything, I'd be like, well, you said birthdays aren't important. So, OOP updated in the same post 1 year later. Wow, I did not know that this would blow up like that when I posted it. Shortly after my birthday and this post, I had several sit-down talks with my husband. A lot of his lack of effort stems from the way he was raised. He actually started therapy shortly after our talk and has become a lot more attentive. We found out I was pregnant in October, a huge surprise as I didn't get pregnant after 5 years of trying and 2 years of fertility treatment. My pregnancy has been high risk and very rough on me emotionally and physically. I have a lot of restrictions and recently was put on bed rest after already being on minimum activity light duty. He's been amazing at taking care of me, the house, the kids, and even helping a lot while my mum has been in and out of hospital for an aneurysm and strokes. Oh my goodness. Got a lot going on, OP. Flipping heck. You don't get a break, do you, my love? My goodness. But I'm glad he's finally listened. For my birthday this year, he got me a gift, made what I wanted for supper, steak, lobster tail, mussels, Brussels sprouts and bread. What a weird combination! And got my current favourite dessert. We were limited on what we could do because of my pregnancy restrictions, but he got a chick flick movie going for us in the evening and watched it with me without a complaint. And he was the first one to tell me happy birthday right at midnight. I want to thank all of you for giving me insight, advice, and courage. Well, that was a very unexpected happy ending now, wasn't it? Most of these stories that I read, it always ends with big arguments and maybe not even a proper resolution, and you know, they've gone through all this and they've still not found a middle ground. So this was refreshing. Oh my goodness, it was refreshing. So, down in the comments of the Best of Redditor Updates post, Shah Cheer says, that was an unexpected outcome. Yeah, was it not? Oh my goodness. I love it though. I really do. I'm so glad because I honestly thought he was going to be one of those that would be an absolute butthole. So I'm really glad that it was such a happy ending. And then Bronwyn Noodle says, saw your comment before reading the full post. Thought it'd be one of those that gave me emotional and psychological whiplash. Read the post. Was relieved. And then Candy Spark says, this ending was surprisingly healthy. Okay then, so I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. I've taught myself out and now I'm getting a tension headache from yapping so much. So if you made it all the way to the end with me, I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Also, feel free to hype if you want to. That's the thing now. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you're having a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.